Regal Mendel. Regal Mendel is an Australian man who worked with peas because they grow easier and faster. He has a stock of distributing identical traits that means a specific characteristic of an individual. The genetics is a scientific study of the hereditary. Here we have the process of fertilization, in which the sexual reproduction, male and female, produce cells and join to form a new cell. From here, it produces a trait that is a specific characteristic, such as the seed color or the height of the plant of an individual. Delivering of characteristics from a parent to an offspring of genes, then we have the alleles that are different forms of a gene. Finally, some are dominant and some are recessive, and this is called the principle of dominance.
The way in which allele segregates during gamete formation is like flip a coin. Therefore, the probability can be used to predict the outcomes of genetic growth.
Using segregation to predict outcomes. Look the picture. In this cross, both plants have the same set of alleles, tall and short, and are tall. The probability of each gamete acquiring the tall allele is 1/2. Also, the probability of acquiring the short allele is 1/2. Finally, exists 1/4 of probability that the offspring will be tall homozygous or short homozygous. Homozygous are organisms that have two identical alleles for a particular gene, and 1/2 of probability that the offspring will be tall heterozygous. Heterozygous are organisms that have two different alleles for the same gene.
Probabilities predict average. Well, when we have most of offspring, it's most easily to calculate the values. If we have a second generation of plants with 2 or 3 offspring, we cannot match it with Mendel's radio. Now I'm going to explain two concepts. The phenotype are the physical traits, and the genotype is the genetic makeup.
One of the best ways to predict the outcome of a genetic cross is by drawing a simple graph known as a Punnett square. And the Punnett square uses mathematical probability to help predict the genotype and phenotype combinations in genetic crosses. Construction of Punnett square is very easy. You begin with a square, then follow the principle of segregation. All possible combinations of alleles in the gametes produced by one parent are written along the top edge of the square. The other parent's alleles are then segregated along the left edge. Next, every possible genotype is written into the box with the square and used as they might appear in the F2 generation. After showing the alleles segregate during the formation of gametes, Mendel wondered if the segregation of one pair of alleles affects another pair. To find out, Mendel followed 2 different genes as they pass from one generation to the next, because it involves 2 different genes. Mendel's experiment is known as two-factor or hybrid cross. Mendel's principles of heredity observed through pattern of inheritance form the basis of modern genetics. These principles are as follows. First, the inheritance of biological characteristic is determined by individual units called genes, which are passed from parents to offspring. Two, there are 2 or more forms called alleles of the gene form a single trait it sees some alleles may be dominant and others may be recessive. And 3. In most sexually the most sexually reproducing organism, each adult has 2 copies of each gene, one from each parent.
As already explained above, Mendel established principle of inheritance, but some exceptions exist. The first exception is the incomplete dominance, in which some alleles are neither dominant or recessive. For example, in cross a red flower with a white flower, the resulting color of the flower is pink. The next exception is codominance, in which phenotypes are produced by both alleles are clearly expressed. For example, in certain varieties of chicken, the allele for black feathers is codominant with the allele for black feathers. Heterozygous chickens have a color described as erminate, speckled with black and white feathers. Another exception is multiple alleles, which is a gene with more than 2 alleles. The best known example is a cool-colored rabbit. Finally, we have polygenic traits, in which the traits are controlled by 2 or more genes. One example of this exception is the variety of skin color in humans come about probably because more than 4 different genes probably control this trait. It's important to mention that environmental conditions can affect the gene expression and influence a genetically determined traits. An individual's actual phenotype is determined by its environment as well as its genes.
We have the human genetic disorders. First, we have the disorders caused by individual genes. We need to know that change in the gene's DNA sequence can change proteins, altering the amino acid sequence, which will affect a phenotype. Some disorders are the sickle cell disease, that is caused by a defective allele for beta-globin. It makes hemoglobin a bit less soluble, causing hemoglobin molecules to stick together when the blood oxygen levels decrease. Then we have the cystic fibrosis. It's caused by a genetic change almost as small as earwax. Usually, it is caused for the missing of 3 DNA bases. Then an amino acid will be missing in the protein CFTR. It causes an improperly transport of chloride in the cell membrane. It produces a thick mucus. Then we have the Huntington's disease. It's caused by a dominant allele for a protein in the brain cells that contain a long string with glutamine more than 14 times. It produces mental deterioration and uncontrollable movement. Then we have the chromosomal disorders. These are produced by a non-disjunction that occurs during meiosis, where can appear gametes with an abnormal number of chromosomes, and it affects the chromosomal number. Some disorders are the trisomy 21, that is caused for a fail in the separation of autosomal chromosomes, and it results in 3 copies of a chromosome. It is known as Down syndrome, and is related with cognitive disabilities and birth defects. Then we have the Turner syndrome. It occurs in females that inherit only one X chromosome. It produces that the women are sterile and their sex organs are not correctly developed. Finally, we have the Klinefelter syndrome that results from the inheritance of an extra X chromosome, which interferes during meiosis and usually prevents this individual from reproducing.